Good evening, I'm George Mallet.
And I'm Jill Chernikoff. The miracle is that so many survived. And that's first on Fox tonight. 11 people are dead, at least 80 injured after a fast-moving tornado ripped through Gainesville, Georgia without warning. The twister tore through entire farms and forests, destroying 20 homes in its path. National Guard troops are in the area now searching for more victims. Melissa Sander has more.
I was woke up by lightning, and then so I jumped up, and then you hear it. It was just roaring. And I threw my pants on real quick, and then the whole trailer just tumbled over.
When he came to, this is what Robert Hobbs found, his own trailer and the ones around him in ruins.
This was one of those storms that developed out of nowhere, so to speak. There was no warning for anybody to give anybody.
Rescuers describe the scene as a war zone. Among the dead, a 6-year-old child, a 13-year-old, and an emergency worker hit by a car as she tried to help others.
A deputy sheriff from Dawson County who was directing traffic around a tree that had fallen in the road, and that young lady was also one of my employees.
Immediately, crews began cleaning up and restoring downed power lines, even as rescuers keep looking over and through the debris.
We want to make sure that we account for everybody in the area so that we know we've gotten everybody out of the area that needs assistance.
Just thank God that it wasn't tomorrow, because I would have had my kids over for the weekend. I just thank God for that.
An elementary school and a high school were badly hit, but because of the early hour, no students, no teachers were on school grounds when the tornado rushed through. In northern Georgia, I'm Melissa Sander, Fox News.
And in neighboring North Carolina, 2 people were killed and 21 hurt after a tornado touched down there. The twister flattened the town of Stoneville as it moved across the state.
Here at home, long-term gain, but short-term pain. That is the word from Boeing's Ridley Township helicopter plant tonight. The bad news, Delaware County's largest employer has announced big layoffs. The good news, the company is staying put. Bruce Gordon reports.
For weeks, uncertainty hovered over the Ridley facility like the military tilt-rotored Osprey that is built here. Today's announcement was both the worst and the best that could have been expected. About 900 men and women will be cut from a workforce of 6,400 starting this summer.
I am angry because I believe it's a rape. I think they're raping this community. I think they're raping the workers here, and I think it's a tragedy, and I think they ought to come clean and tell us the bottom line.
They talked about the 900 plus 20%.
Anger mixed with confusion at the Aerospace Workers Union office near the plant. Boeing's new layoffs are in addition to the company's already announced plan to trim costs by 20% over the next 2 years. Some workers have already been cut loose.
I started on October 31st, and I was laid off last Friday. And when I took the job, they told me they had work for the next 5 years.
The story of these layoffs began to be written last year with Boeing's takeover of fellow aerospace giant McDonnell Douglas. Such takeovers always create a certain amount of duplication, and with Boeing known mostly for commercial work and McDonnell Douglas a military specialist, workers here at the Ridley plant knew the handwriting was on the wall.
A lot of rumors going around. You didn't know what to believe or what to believe. You still don't know what to believe.
As for that good news,
6 weeks ago, this facility was dead meat. It was about ready to be closed and locked up, and the key turned over to somebody else.
Local politicians, led by Delaware County Congressman Kurt Weldon, believe their lobbying efforts saved the Ridley factory from a planned shutdown. Weldon says Boeing has now committed to Ridley as a management base for increased production of the Osprey and for work on the Chinook and Comanche helicopter programs.
We will see not only a stabilization of the workforce here, we will actually see a net increase in jobs.
That's where I believe they want to screw the workers here.
But that gain is well down the road. For now, the pain of mass job cuts can be seen on a lot of nervous faces. In Ridley Township, Delaware County, Bruce Gordon, Fox News.
Now, nationwide, Boeing's belt-tightening plan includes selling off 15% of its current factory space and cutting 8,200 jobs. That's by the year 2000. California takes the biggest hit with 6,200 jobs lost.
Day 6 of the Septa talks, and still frustrated riders are left hanging, not knowing what will happen or when. We do know both sides were crunching numbers today and that there will be Septa service at least through Saturday. To find out what else happened or didn't happen today, let's check in with Karen Thomas, who's been camped out at the Wyndham awaiting word. Karen?
Well, Jill, talks are over for tonight. Both sides did meet around 4 o'clock, and the plan for the union overnight is just what you said. They are crunching numbers. They're analyzing Septa's latest package proposal. Now, the union wants to make sure that Septa's package is not only cost effective for the union, but that the membership isn't giving up too much. However, the last meeting of the day is being characterized as a positive step.
We met for about an hour, and the union asked some specific questions about our costing methodology and the assumptions that we used to reach those numbers. They asked us some additional questions, and we told them we would get back to them shortly, and that's what we'll do.
Septa's lead negotiator, Pat Patel, and 2 lawyers from David Cohen's office met face-to-face with union business agent Bruce Bodner. They reviewed 17 items and are now weighing the dollars and cents of Septa's package.
If the value of the contract is sufficient, then you could juggle numbers to make an agreement. But if the value of the contract is insufficient, then the only way you're going to get an agreement is if Septa puts more money on the table.
So far, Septa's not budged. Negotiators for the authority want to reform workmen's compensation and health benefits, saying the average union employee is paid $1,600 a month in benefits. And Septa wants to revamp the salary and time period a disabled employee gets paid. Meanwhile, a resolution passed by national union leaders in Las Vegas today advises the Democratic National Committee not to hold its convention in Philadelphia, saying Septa plans to use scab employees to operate the system in the event of a strike. Well, Septa's David Cohen snapped back, saying the TWU is desperate and is hurting southeastern Pennsylvania.
The TWU's inability to tell the truth in Philadelphia has transported itself to Las Vegas, where it was also incapable of telling the truth. What I mean by that is that there is no plan to use scab employees to operate the system.
And Septa spends nearly $16 million each year for just TWU compensation claims, and that was really one of the main issues today talked about, workmen's compensation. Now, despite the little fires that have flared up in the past week or so, both sides have agreed to meet again tomorrow face-to-face. Mass transit will continue running. There's been no talk of a strike. However, a strike captain's meeting is being called by the union tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Now, Bruce Bodner has told the press not to read into the positive meeting today and not to read into this strike captain meeting tomorrow. So we really don't know what all of that means. However, we do know that mass transit will continue running tonight and tomorrow, and that a meeting between the union and Septa is scheduled for sometime tomorrow afternoon. That's the very latest from Center City. I'm Karen Thomas. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Karen, thanks.
Well, New Jersey Governor Christie Whitman is against raising the speed limit to 65 miles per hour on additional roads at this point. Now, the higher speed limit is already set to go into effect in May on 400 miles of road. Officials will determine if the higher speed limit causes more accidents. Some legislators want to expand that test to some of the state's busiest roads, including most of Interstate 80. However, Whitman thinks the original 400 miles are enough for now.
If you travel on Route 309 in Montgomery County, you know that speeding is a major problem on that road. It's one of the major reasons the accident rate is so high and the road is so treacherous. But as Susan Bueller reports, a new effort to crack down on drivers with a heavy foot is making traveling safer.
It is one of the most dangerous roads in Pennsylvania. The Route 309 expressway in Montgomery County is a little more than 8 miles long, yet there are twice as many accidents per mile than any other highway in the state.
People die on that road. They die there every day. I mean, it's a shame, but that's the harsh reality of it.
But state and local police have teamed up to change the statistics. They're stepping up their efforts to crack down on speeders.
Chevy Blazer 7-0 in the left lane.
Nearly 100 people were caught speeding in just a few hours this afternoon.
I was going to take the back way. I was going to take Old Bethlehem Pike, which I should have done. And now I know. From now on, I'm just staying off this road. It's ridiculous.
This disgusted driver might want to stay off the 309 expressway, but 50 to 60,000 motorists use the road every day, a road that was never designed to handle that much traffic. Last summer, PennDOT resurfaced the highway, and it's making a difference.
The old concrete would get, with the oil that had dropped on it, like glass. This surface holds the traction much better.
Since last summer, the accident rate has dropped more than 30%. In some municipalities, it's dropped almost 50%.